awesome, pal.
Whoa! This is Big Motor Small Blade. All right, that's enough of that. Yeah, Big Motor Small Blade here. I'm Seth. He's Chuck. Abby will be making her momentary guest appearance, despite common decency. And we're here to talk about. We're here to really talk about the high limit season starting. And we will.
Her alarm's going off behind me.
Oh dear God, Abby is such a nuisance to this show.
Can you hear it?
I cannot.
Okay, just keep rolling. I think we should just send it.
All right, we're just sending it. Yes, we're going to talk about high limit season starting, and we're going to talk about this past weekend's outlaw races. I know we missed a few. I honestly had forgotten how many we had missed. The Outlaws race a lot.
A whole lot. It's significantly more than high limit by like 30 races.
Yeah, it's a lot. Which is great, which is fine, but I'm definitely not going to remember to talk about all these races, even though I watch.
I don't have time to talk about all these races.
Yeah, I watched them, but then I was like, wait, who won this race? And then I found out, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember watching that. So anyway,
Chuck also went to a new racetrack.
Chuck did go to a new racetrack.
World of Outlaws late models, so they were going to touch on that too. And before we do anything else, my opening remarks. Connor Hall, if you are watching this is my makeshift mic setup for now. I hope you're happy. I'm going to get a real one.
And Connor, if you are watching, thank you. I've been trying to get Chuck to admit that he needs a new microphone for a hot minute now, and now he does. So thank you.
I think this is like at least better than what I've been doing.
Marginally. So, if it doesn't die.
Well, somebody was charging, and then somebody had to charge their vape. So
vapes are very important. Okay, remember, it's not an addiction,
guys,
but if you don't get it, you'll sort of go off the rails. I mean, it's completely normal, and I understand it entirely.
You know what else is addicting?
Sprint car racing.
Race cars. Yeah.
Well, racing in general, yes.
Dirt late model enthusiast. I'm not going to admit to what you just said, but
I mean, it's all addicting. I mean, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but we've been sitting here making videos on just general racing, whatever, for however long now. I think you joined the show like 2.5 or a year and a half ago now. So
it's kind of sick now, especially that like we don't even have anything. It's just like
we just do whatever, and that's kind of what I always wanted to do. So I'm happy we're finally doing it. At our own pace, however we feel like it. And if you're interested in all types of racing, pretty much, I swear eventually we're going to get to everything. I would love to continue expanding, but I don't want to do it all at once because that is a big undertaking, and B, I really don't know. I don't confidently talk about anything that isn't NASCAR or IndyCar. And that doesn't mean I don't know what's going on in some of these other racing series. I just am not confident talking about it, which is why I love having Chuck here to do the dirt stuff. Because Chuck, I swear, watches everything, even though he has no time. And I don't understand how he even manages to watch as much stuff as he does.
Yeah.
I don't know. But all right. Anyway, high limit.
So do we want to start with the racing or the big news first?
We can start with the big news. Just go ahead and knock that out.
Yeah. So I will tell you the news, and then I'm going to read their press release because I'm smart. I'm not that smart. There's no way on the fly I'm going to explain it better than they did. But basically, High Limit is introducing their own charter system, franchises for 2026 and beyond, it's been a controversial topic so far. Most notably, one that I saw complaining about it, which not surprised, but still notable, is Danny Dietrich has been kind of anti-franchises on Twitter. But there's a lot of people that think it's a good thing. And so before we talk about it, I will read to you what their press release says. Effective in 2026, 10 high-limit racing team owners will enter a high-limit franchise system focused on creating a sustainable business model for its race teams High Limit will distribute up to $18 million in total revenue over the next 4 years. It lists the numbers by year. If you guys really want to know the exact numbers, you can go read their press release. I'm trying to simplify this. The first five have already been given out based on last year's point standings. So Casey Kane Racing 49, Brad Sweet. Clausen Marshall 7 BC, Rico Avery Racing 24, the Roth 83, and the Murray Marks Motorsports 19. So Brett Marks. Five more will be awarded at the conclusion of this season based on average point finishes from this season and last amongst drivers who didn't already get a charter from last season. Franchise, excuse me. We got to stay away from that charter word. So, goes farther in depth, but I think, we have just about everything you need to know right there. This is kind of, I don't know. It's sketchy waters in a way because you're taking something that is probably pretty wrong with NASCAR right now and trying to make it a really good thing about dirt racing, and it can go right. How do you feel about it?
Well, first of all, I'll say I don't think that it's necessarily something that's wrong with NASCAR right now. Outside of being guaranteed a spot in the Daytona 500, I think the charters are pretty good. I love what 2311 and Front Row are trying to do, which is make it even better for the teams. But ultimately, I think the way High Limit is already set up, at least if you compare it to World of Outlaws, which I don't want to start bashing the World of Outlaws. I enjoy the World of Outlaws, but the way it's set up, where run you can run a touring series, and also on the side you can run whatever the hell you want and enter any race you want. Especially with some of the, they got big sponsors. They pay pretty good money for a lot of these events at High Limit. I think it's probably your best option and it's slightly less races. So, if you are maybe on the smaller side of a team, you don't have to commit to the 85-ish, whatever it is, race grind of the Outlaws, and you still race regularly and you can still race whenever. And now if you're a top 5 team, or however that works, I don't know however they're doing it.
I guess I
Or
think
no.
it's
Yeah,
the
it's top
the
5
five that
now.
have it.
Yeah, and then there's 5 more that are
I
going to be
think they're
available.
locked in for the next 4 years.
Okay. Yeah, and then you have the
So
opportunity for 5 more teams to get in there, or however. But even then, even if you don't have it, you're not cooked, and you still have plenty of opportunity to make money and go race wherever you want. Um, so I think it's a pretty solid system. Also, you're setting yourself up from the jump to make sure it's not just Flow Racing, Kyle Larson, and Brad Sweet that are going to make money on this. You're trying to make sure that it's a healthy environment for everybody. Now, will that be obviously it has an opportunity to not be successful? Obviously, everything does, but I think the idea of it is, I think it's pretty spot on. My opinion. What do you think?
well, I just want to clarify. Charters in NASCAR are a good thing. The mess that they've created because of malpractice is not.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm saying is wrong. Like, we took a good thing and we created this mess of where teams are supposed to benefit and they're not benefiting in the way that they should.
Yeah.
If it's done correctly, yeah, I think it's a great thing because people are going to complain and be like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to support it. I'm going to go." I've read this so many times already. Oh, I'm just going to go watch my local track. Well, first of all, you should do that anyway. Support your local short tracks.
Yeah.
But racers need to survive. If race teams can't survive, then they can't show up to the racetrack, and then racetracks can't survive, and then you have nothing to watch.
Yeah.
If this is a way that's going to help the racers survive, that's what we should be doing. My only worry, if I have to hear Drake go off one more time in this show, my only worry, and maybe not worry, but wonder, is the full-time roster gonna be capped at 10. Because like if you're the 11th, 12th, 13th team that wants to run full time, it sounds like you're going to be getting significantly less unless they have an entirely different program, whether that's to, something that would be a
Well,
whole nother can of worms. But
now
like,
the
if
only
you're that
thing
11th team, why are you going to commit full time?
the only thing I can think of though is like the actual in race revenue or post or sorry, race purse revenue like for the NASCAR Cup Series if you're not a chartered team. Like the 91 team when they won Chicago didn't break even. Um and the number that they listed of $18 million over the next 4 years, that's between five teams. That's not huge. That sounds extra to me. That sounds like on top of everything else, that's what you're going to get. So it doesn't really scream to me. I could be wrong about this, but just the way it sounds to me is it doesn't scream to me that's actual race purse. That is like bonus money.
Okay, I mean, and I could see that. Like, I don't think it's going to be race purse.
Yeah.
I mean, there is always an incentive to run the series full time. Like the Outlaws have their um, platinum agreement,
Yeah.
just like the ASA Stars basically went copycat on it and made the platinum program. Um, NASCAR has charters. There's some
IndyCar has
sort of
charters.
there's some sort of incentive that leads you to run a series full time. And dirt racing, it gets yeah, it's a controversial topic. People talk about it all the time because of how WRG handles their sprint car stuff and then doesn't do it that way with the late models, and how the late models, Lucas and WRG, they share everything. It seems like they get along, and then on the sprint car side, they hate each other. I don't want it to negatively affect the full time field, and not that it matters that much. Because it's not like the guys, there's our guest appearance. It's not like the guys 11th through 15th are affecting the championship outcome, but it is nice to see 15 teams committed to a full-time national tour.
Yeah. Um yeah. No, I understand all that. I don't know. I don't really yeah,
I
I don't
guess we'll see.
yeah, I don't know. It's
It's
a
it's a it's a cool thing though, and I'm glad they're doing it.
yeah. But ultimately it's a lot of it's really speculative past what is actually existing right now. Um like I don't know. But I'm
Well,
I'm ultimately in favor of it as long as they
yeah.
do it right, obviously. But
And
I
you would think, I mean, I you have to imagine, considering the one guy that owns the series deals with NASCAR,
yeah,
and the other one owns the car for the guy that owns the series, who also dealt with NASCAR. And it's not like Brad doesn't understand what's going on with NASCAR either.
yeah.
So I don't see how it would be severe malpractice to screw this up.
Now, I mean, you can take this with a grain of salt based off everything in the background of everything behind me, but I trust that Kyle and Brad are interested in the health of sprint car racing in general and also their series, and I don't think they would do anything to sabotage that.
I don't see why you would.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Brad basically burned his bridge with WRG. So,
Yeah,
it doesn't benefit you to sabotage your series.
exactly. So,
They did some
anyway,
racing though.
they did do some racing. They started their season. They tried to start it on Thursday, right?
They tried to start it on Thursday.
Got rained out.
Rained out. I think
And
they tried to do it on Friday. Rained out. Well, no, it didn't rain out. The rain delayed the truck race, and a
yeah,
lot of people were pissed off about this on Twitter. They were like, "Oh, why is High Limit waiting on NASCAR? They shouldn't be waiting on the NASCAR guys. They weren't waiting on Kyle and Corey Day. they couldn't race because they were using the same safety team.
Yeah.
Do a little research before you complain. So they couldn't race on Friday because by the time they would have gotten started, it was way too late and way too cold because the wind out there.
Yeah.
So they just had a really big show on Saturday. And it actually turned out to be pretty good. Everybody, I mean, for what Las Vegas has been in the past, it was a great show.
Yeah. I thought it was a really good race.
Um, I watched part of it. I think I caught bits and pieces of the heat race, and I fell asleep for part of the main. Corey Day, it's like he never stepped out of a sprint car, even though he's off doing NASCAR stuff now.
He barely stepped out of a sprint car.
I know, but it's like it. The only thing that's not the only thing. The thing that stands out the most to me. I'm not trying to knock on Spencer, but Spencer Bayston took over Corey's ride basically, and it doesn't look very good when you go backwards and finish at the tail end of a feature, and your part-time teammate jumps in and whoops everybody's ass. So
yeah, I mean, Spencer's been on the struggle bus for like 3 years now, right?
yeah,
So
they
I
didn't.
hate it for him. Like I mean, I was at the first Outlaws race he won at Bristol. Like that was a really good drive. Like it. I mean, we know he. I mean, he beat Kyle, so we
Right.
know he can. We know he's good. I don't know what the deal is the past few years. Like I don't know.
Yeah, something's off. Because that's not ideal to see.
Yeah.
I'm trying
But
to
I
think
mean,
of what
we
else
know we
notable
do.
happened.
To be fair to him, we do know how good Corey Day is. So I mean, it's not.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
he beat like again, he beat everybody. He beat Kyle pretty much heads up. So I mean, I just got done talking about Spencer doing it, but that was 3 years ago now. So, but
Yeah. Ty Gibbs made his sprint car debut.
oh yes, I almost
So
forgot about this.
shout out to Ty for making his first ever sprint car main in his first attempt.
Yeah.
That is cool. He qualified in through the heat race, didn't have to go to the B.
Yep.
But he
It
then
didn't last long after that.
uh 3/4 of a lap to be
Yeah.
specific before he absolutely junked the hell out of it and on the entrance to turn 3. He barrel rolled that thing. And rumor has it Joe Gibbs started looking for the file that he signed that said his drivers could run dirt on that night.
Yeah. I mean, he might just need to revise it and just say that Ty Gibbs isn't allowed to, because whatever the Christopher Bell that you'd be insane to change Christopher Bell's um uh the stance on Christopher Bell running races at the very least, because he's been killing it this year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Maybe Ty should figure out what's going on in the cup car, though, before we keep.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's a whole.
Are we sure he's not concussed?
I mean, if he is, it hasn't affected his performance. He's been bad for a hot minute now.
No, well, yes. But did you see his interview on Sunday? The
The
grid
pre-race
walk thing
interview?
with
Yeah, I
yes.
did see that.
He like slurred his way through whatever he said to Michael Waltrip. Now I know he was. I think he. I heard somebody say he was trying to mock Michael Waltrip, but Ty Gibbs. I don't
I
think Ty Gibbs would normally do that. That's just my opinion.
yeah, I don't know.
And then he ran slower than Cody Ware, so in the Gibbs car.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I guess it's possible. I don't know. Dude, so does this is not about sprint car racing, but we're going to talk about it anyway. Does NASCAR have a protocol for testing drivers after they get in a wreck in another series?
I don't think so. I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
There was a recent example.
Because I know Alex Bowman obviously got in a sprint car accident. No. He got concussed and then found out after he drove a sprint car. I'm thinking of no, I forgot he broke his
I
back doing
swear
sprint
there's a
car racing.
recent example though, where I
I
would
don't
be
know.
like, hmm.
I don't know. I think it's more like you show symptoms and then they'll go get you tested or something.
Their best example is probably Kyle. I know he flipped it like hell in the million,
Did
and
he get
then
tested
right.
afterward?
I don't know, but I mean that's probably the most recent example of somebody that flipped like Ty did, and then went and raced a Cup car that weekend.
Yeah. That was like 2 years ago though, right?
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah. So
But
anyway, we got off the beaten path a bit, but yeah,
yeah,
I didn't even
sorry
know
about
what
that.
to make of the actual incident. I know it looked like Ty got spooked, basically, kind of like he didn't expect a car to be there or something, and just clearly lacked experience in the car
Yeah,
and just wrecked it.
yeah,
Which again, like you said, making the feature in general is commendable, and he didn't take anybody else out. So I success, maybe. I don't know, kind of
yeah. I mean, sprint car racing doesn't really have a. Kyle talked about
barrier
this.
to entry.
Yeah. So, and that was a topic that he talked about after the whole Catherine Legg thing was a hot topic in NASCAR.
Yeah.
Anything else notable to you out of the Vegas race? I mean, I just what I took from it is that
Yeah.
Vegas actually put on a good show. They had a solid. They did great with the track all night long. Oh yeah, fuel mileage.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that did
I
happen.
forgot that Darren Pittman like had the race won and then ran out of gas.
So what I heard and what I heard about that was that High Limit gave the teams a number, like a like total lap number counting caution laps. And that number was like 65 or 70-ish, and they had not even gotten close to that number. So they were surprised to see guys start to run out of gas.
These was multiple guys.
Yeah. Now to be fair, again, the thing is everyone jumped on, oh, Pittman's not full time, so they didn't care until it was a high roller. Um, but I would argue that one car running out of gas, you can you're not going to throw a caution for that unless it's like he stopped or whatever, because he can get to the infield, and it's if it's just one car, it's probably their fault. Would be the argument. And then once other cars start running out of gas, you go, okay, no, there's something else going on here, and that something
Right.
else could just be that they've run too many caution laps or whatever. Um, and at that point, you need to do something about it. So I understand doing that. Um, but everyone didn't run out of gas. It's not like everyone ran out of gas. So it sounds like some teams maybe made a gamble to maybe make their cars lighter and got burned. I,
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think especially like one is a coincidence. Two or sorry, one is random, two's a coincidence, three's a trend.
Yeah.
So once you get two or three, then you start having to look at okay, maybe we have a situation here. And if they were gambling, trying to make their car light, of course the leader ran out first. He's going the fastest. So yeah, I don't think they were not caring because it was Pittman. I mean, everybody loves Darren Pittman, so I don't think Mike Hess up there in the tower is going to be like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
If it had been the other way around and a couple high roller guys start running out of fuel and then Pittman runs out, they throw the caution. It had
Yeah.
nothing to do with the fact that Pittman was the guy that ran out. It was just that he ran out first.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, and genuinely, I hate it for him. Like he was going to
yeah,
win the race more than likely.
that
Um,
car's been on rails, dude.
oh yeah, yeah.
Like he
Obviously with
went quick
Christopher,
time both nights. Car's been fast.
yeah. Curious how it'll do on the PA posse scene this year. Will be. I'll be trying to keep up with that as much as I can. I don't live in PA, so but
This guy says he's gonna keep up with stuff and then he doesn't. So don't.
this is true. But also, I can just text. Joe or Matt and be like, "Hey, what's going on with the 69K? How are they doing?"
They're going to be like, in what context? Where? What racetrack?
I mean, generally,
Yeah, all of them,
the
right?
last like month, what how have they done? But all right, so that leads us into last night. We were originally going to record last night, and then Chuck went fishing, and also we were like, it would be goofy to make a high limit video on the day that they're, or basically while they're running a race. That would be a little goofy. So we postponed um, to today. And shocker, the 57 and Kyle Larson, who have been on a absolute heater to start the season on dirt, specifically. Well, yes, the 57 and Kyle Larson. Um, and I guess the 01, anything Silva Motorsports and Kyle Larson related, they've been hitting on all cylinders. That thing was bad fast last night, and that was a grade A ass whooping.
Yes.
Yeah,
Damn, that place was rough last night.
but it was
That
awesome.
was that was awesome to watch.
Yeah.
But holy, that was cowboy up, buddy.
Well, like
That
what amazed me is how like Kyle was burning the brakes up
that was
worse
cool.
than
Okay.
anybody. I mean, it looked awesome. It looked
That is
awesome.
that visual is like one of the coolest things. I mean, I've seen it
Yeah.
a lot. I've never seen it that much.
Yeah.
That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
I thought he was gonna burn the brakes off of it, like entirely. And I it
Or
it
them
paid.
just like actually light on fire and
Yeah.
burn the thing down.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't
Towards the
entirely
end, Brads were doing the same thing.
yeah, towards the end, but I mean, Giles was doing it 2 laps into a run. I mean, that's probably why he was so much faster than everybody. He just burned the brakes up on it and got it to turn in the center of the corner. Because that was the problem a
Yeah.
lot of guys had, especially if you got up in like the second lane or whatever. The cushion was so rough that they couldn't even really like expand it at all because it was you were just biking it up every time in turn two if you
Yeah.
got too high. But yeah, I mean it wasn't entirely smooth sailing for them. Obviously in flight B they went quick time and he drew second in the dash draw, missed staging and got sent to the back. He got up to sixth. Um and then yeah, just came right through the field during the race. Like it wasn't even like it wasn't an issue at all. So
Same podium as when they were there last year.
really, that's
Yep.
pretty
It
cool.
was I think last year it might have been flipped. I think it was last year Larson, Rico, Brad, and this year was Larson, Brad, Rico. The three guys you expect to be the fastest at Tulare.
Yeah.
And then the other guy, give a couple of shout outs here. Corey Day. Shocker. Corey Day is good.
No way.
Won the B and then went on an absolute tear through the field to drive to fifth in the main.
Yeah.
So on that racetrack, hell of a drive from Corey Day.
Yeah.
And then Casey Kane.
Yeah.
Did not have maybe the finish that they wanted. I think they were one or two spots outside the top 10 or maybe 10th. But they won a heat race, charged to the front in their heat race, were good in the dash. So it's cool to see Casey up front, you know.
Yeah.
He's found a he's found a home in his post NASCAR career, just having fun running sprint cars. And it's cool to see him having fun and running good.
Yeah.
So I think a healthy, competitive Casey Kane is good for everybody to see in the sport.
Yeah. 100%. Happy to love seeing it. Um, so, all right. Do we got anything else about high limit
I
for
think
right now?
we are good on high limit. Kyle Larson has now led both the high limit and World of Outlaws point standings this year.
That's pretty funny.
In case anybody wants to know what would happen if he ran a sprint car full time.
Yeah, I think we know. I think we know what would happen there.
There's people who swear up and down he wouldn't be competitive for the whole year, and you're crazy. But
I think they'd be even more competitive.
which is scary.
Yeah. I just made myself bleed like a dingus, so apologies.
And then he kissed his boo boo.
Yeah, I did. But anyway,
There was some outlaw sprint car racing that happened as
there
well
was. There
down
was
at Kennedale Raceway Park. I believe
yes.
that's the correct track name. Yeah, I know it's Kennedale, down in Texas. I missed this, so Seth's gonna have to take the reins here.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember more about night one. I watched, but I don't remember everything. But I know
Oh,
Geo won.
oh, wait, no, there is something else from High Limit.
Okay, what?
I forget who it was, last night because I had to go back and like skim through the highlights. Somebody lost a right front
Oh
going into
yeah.
three.
Oh yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah,
That was
that turned into a full pileup.
yeah. There was I know Thorson was in that. I think Justin Peck was in that, and whoever it was, I can't remember who it was that lost a tire. Dude, I've never seen the right front just like looked like a cup car. The right front just flew off and went on its merry way.
Now it like sheared off, right? I see
Um,
I feel like
all I saw was the replay, so I don't know.
I feel like I have seen a tire shear off of a sprint car before, but I don't know.
It was just crazy because thing just came off and he sailed it off down into three.
I've made a
Didn't have any way of
makeshift
really slowing it
I've
down.
made a makeshift band-aid with paper.
All right, paper band-aid boy, talk about Kennedale.
I think it's a pretty cool track. I think the racing was solid this weekend from what I remember. Again, my brain is kind of mushy right now. But what was that face? Are you trying to be Abby and be memeable? You're not as memeable as Abby. I'm sorry. Except when you're hatless. Hatless Chuck is a meme that will never die.
We're
Um,
not doing that.
no, I'm putting it up.
You could probably make a pretty good meme out of the face she's making right now.
Oh, I'm sure. Every face Abby
She's
makes is memeable.
she's deep in her book right
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought the race was pretty solid. I'm always happy to see Geo win. I would say I'm a fan of Geo's. I'm a fan of a lot of guys in sprint car racing. I'll be completely honest about that. But I don't think there's anyone I hate, which is fun.
now. Well,
I don't.
hate's a strong word anyway.
It is, and I don't even think there's anyone I really don't like. There's guys I would prefer not to see win when I'm at the racetrack, but other than that, that's about as far as I
Hate's
go with it.
reserved for things like
Joey Logano.
mosquitoes. Oh, okay. I was gonna go like Yellow Jackets, maybe the Dallas Cowboys, and we went straight to Joey Logano. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
well, no, two of those three things for sure. You
I
would
don't know
probably say
I don't know
all
what's
three.
worse between those two.
I assume you're saying Logano or the Cowboys.
No, the Yellow Jackets or the Cowboys.
Hmm.
I have a more visceral reaction to Joey Logano winning than the Cowboys because I'm not a division rival with them, so I don't really care that
You
much.
are a division rival with Joey Logano.
I hate him, if that's what you mean. This is going off the rails. We're not talking about it. Anyway, I
Oh,
just got done rewatching. I just got done watching the replay of the second night at Kennedale, so that one's a lot more fresh. Sam Haferteep, mostly I don't ever remember what happens in heat races, so I apologize. That's just the way my brain works. It doesn't compute. I watch it and then I don't remember it. But anyway, Sam Haferteep was leading early and looking pretty solid, and then hit lap traffic. And here comes Buddy, old Buddy Kofoid, and got by him, but it was he didn't set sail entirely. There was a lot of competitive racing past that point. Um, the recap's not great, but yeah, I thought it was a fun race. So
it can't be.
I'm doing a
I
terrible
think
job
any.
of
I,
this.
Well, any track that has multiple grooves,
Yeah.
like Kennedale, like Tulare, automatically isn't going to be a terrible race. A terrible race is when they get in a train and nobody can pass, and
You mean
it's
like when they
just
overwater the track at, let's say, just make up a track name, Charlotte,
Charlotte.
and just to completely neuter the racing?
Yeah, maybe
Damn it.
that
Oh,
sucks.
that shit chat. Hang
Um,
on. We weren't doing dirt, or we weren't doing Outlaws and high limit videos back then. That shit chapped my ass so bad because Thursday, the racing was so, or no, Friday. Thursday? Friday.
Thursday.
Thursday. The racing was so fucking good. Um, and then we they fucked with it a lot on Friday, but the late model race was still really good. The sprint car race suffered
The late model race
significantly.
also was last.
This is true. So yeah, they had gotten
Or
to work.
wait, no, no, they were last on
No,
Saturday.
they were last on Saturday. Sprint cars were last on Friday, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, because big blocks
the
were
late models
last
were
on Thursday.
first. Late models were first. That's why.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, and then they ignored the fact that both, that they had done that to the sprint car race, and then they overdid everything on Saturday, and all the races sucked. So that was great job, World Racing Group. Um, anyway, I don't
SMI, Charlotte Dirt Track,
SMI Charlotte
whoever
Dirt
we have
Track.
to blame.
Um,
It's a yearly thing. Can we stop doing it, please?
yeah,
It sucks. But yes, places like Kennedale where you automatic it's just like it's an optics thing. If you have cars running the top and the bottom, it's automatically more enjoyable as a race fan because even if there isn't actually this is really contradictory to say because we complain about this with NASCAR at times, but even if there's not actually that much passing, um
it's visually
the
stimulating.
that and the optics of watching someone on the top try and battle someone on the bottom and see where they're beating each other. That is fun to watch. The difference between that and NASCAR is they can pass. In NASCAR, that's happening because they can't pass. Um, there is a difference. It may look similar, but they are not the same. So for that reason, I'll agree with you that from what I watched of it, I thought it was solid. It wasn't like a barn burner weekend of sprint car racing from
No,
anywhere. Probably last night was the
last
best
night,
sprint car race we've had in the past 7 days. Uh, it was solid. Nothing like, oh my god, we can't go back there again. So, I mean, I heard some people complain about Kennedale, but I've come to realize that in every circle of motorsports or anything that you ever do in your life, there's going to be a section of that group of people that have to bitch about something. Like it can't just you can't they can't just be content with okay. Like it has to be the greatest thing that's ever happened every single night, or it sucked. Um, don't be that person because if it's the greatest thing every single night, guess what? It's not great anymore because it gets old. So maybe stop complaining
just
about
average.
solid races. Um,
It's my favorite word, mid.
yeah, there we go. That's all I have to say about it. I'm happy that there's two sprint car series running strong right now.
Yes, and I like to support both of them, and I hope at some point the one that I do love but get frustrated with would get its head out of its ass and stop being that way
And hating the other one.
for no reason. Y'all can coexist.
There's a perfect example on the I don't know what we call it, the other side of the pond, the other side of the lunch table, the other
As
side
in
of the dirt
Europe?
racing world. No, the other side of the dirt racing world, late
Yes.
models. We have two national touring series who don't um,
Hate each
schedule
other.
their big hate each other or schedule their big races up against each other or prevent one another from running. In fact, 3 of the top 5 in World of Outlaws late model, 2 of the top 5 in World of Outlaws late model points right now. I guess this is a good segue. Are not World of Outlaws drivers. They're Lucas drivers. It just happens to be that they've been able to run the full Outlaw schedule up until this weekend. Ricky Thornton Jr. is third. Brandon Overton is fifth. Neither of them are full-time Outlaw. They're both full-time Lucas. That ends this weekend as Lucas heads up to Atomic, and the Outlaws are down at, where are they at? Swainsboro, I think, in Georgia. I know they're in Georgia. But this past weekend, they were, well, it was supposed to be for 2 nights at Smoky Mountain Speedway in Maryville, Tennessee. That was a new track for me, track number 53. So I'm moving farther and farther away from the half-century mark and getting closer to the full century mark. Still a ways to go, but
Way closer than me.
Abby behind me loves me enough that she agreed that we could go to a race on our trip for our anniversary. She's great.
Chuck was contractually obligated to say that about Abby.
I was not. I was not. No, she actually enjoys it too. She's
Chuck,
got a
blink
driver.
Twice if you're being held hostage. Can't argue with that.
She's got a driver that she cheers for, so which is enjoyable. Like
who does Abby cheer for? And I know who Abby likes in sprint car racing, but who does Abby like in late model? This is totally irrelevant, but I'm just curious.
Mr. Jonathan Davenport.
Oh, okay. Anyway, continue.
All of her drivers in each series passed the vibe check, in my opinion.
I mean, that's fair.
But I was kind of expecting it to be a bad race. I hate saying that, but there is a lot of tracks in the Southeast that are that way because of the dirt that we race on here. There's a lot of late model racing, but it's a lot of if the track conditions aren't right, it just gets one lane around the bottom, dust bowl really quickly. Yeah. So that's kind of what I was expecting. So first of all, it's a little outside of Maryville. It's 10 minutes outside of town, 15 minutes outside of town, maybe. It's down some back road. It's really cool. You come up over the hill and there's just this field and this big old racetrack in the middle of it, like down in the bottom of this field. It's like, whoa, that's cool. Well, then you're pulling in to park, and the entrance to park, you pay for the race, like at the parking gate, basically. You park in the field. There's no retaining wall for the track in 3 and 4. So as you're paying, you look over, and there's just race cars. I mean, they're a safe distance away. If somebody goes flying over the bank, they're not going to hit you. Yeah. But it's also like close enough to where you can see them, and then you can see them. It's pretty banked. It's pretty banked racetrack, so you see them come up the banking into 1 and 2, and then it dips down, so you can't see them come down the straightaway. But then they come back up the banking, go through 3 and 4, and you're like, okay, now I want to go watch it from the stands. Why won't the parking line move? No, all the seats were actually really solid. The track never really got that dusty. It got shiny. It slowed down a lot. It was completely different than what I was expecting. I didn't get concessions, but the concession stands were nice. This is for anybody wondering that might want to go check it out. Bathrooms were nice. They weren't nice by the end of the night, but that's not the track's fault. You can't fix people. And we had reserved seats because I didn't know what time we'd be able to get there. But, I mean, even the general admission seats were really good. You could see everything. And the backdrop is beautiful because it's just, you're in a field, Smoky Mountains behind you, Smoky Mountains in front of you. It's awesome. The racing was good. We had one really good heat race between Bobby Pierce and Jonathan Davenport. And then in the main, like I said, I was kind of expecting it to be 1 lane around the bottom, but then late in the heat races and in the B, they started running the fence, especially in 1 and 2, because there is a wall in 1 and 2. And in the feature, it was Pierce up front and Davenport pretty quickly. Drove through the field running the top, and then it was him, Pierce, and Hoffman working through lap traffic. And I mean, they were throwing sliders, they were getting hung up, but it was like the track was so slick that it was all almost happening in like slow motion
Mm,
from what I've been watching at Charlotte and then Volusia. So that was a cool, I guess, change of scenery, you could say, from the style of racing we were watching, because it was
yeah.
really technical. Like we go to Charlotte, there's nothing technical about it except for um, technically the grounds crew is stupid. Uh, in Volusia, it's just kind of haul ass.
Yeah.
So that was a cool change of pace, I guess. And in the end, it did get like so, like, I guess at the very end, it got glued down to the bottom, and Davenport couldn't get back to Pierce. So Bob and Pierce won. Shocker. And then with the tornadoes they had coming in on Saturday, they actually announced before the feature on Friday to everybody that there would be no Saturday race, which is the right thing to do. Go ahead and call it in advance because it got pretty rough.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't have raced anyway. But cool track. If anybody wants to go check it out, absolutely do. Solid outlaw race. We've had some, some people, buddy pulley, seem to think that late models don't put on good races, but we've had some damn good dirt late model races this year, and I don't expect that to change this weekend at all because the two tracks they're going to are pretty damn good. So
All right. And like Chuck said earlier, if you're in the area and you want to go check the racetrack out, always be sure to do. It's good to check out these racetracks.
support
Support.
your local short tracks. What are you doing this weekend, Seth? Any racing?
I'm not.
Bummer. What a loser. I told him to come to Five Flags with me and he wouldn't.
This weekend?
Yeah.
Wait, is that the one in Georgia?
No, it's somewhere in Florida.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not going to Florida this weekend. are, are
I'm
you?
leaving at 2 a.m. Saturday morning.
Jeez.
I gotta be down there by 2 in the afternoon. It's a 10.5 hour drive. Gives me time to stop and eat, whatever. And if
Yeah,
I leave
I'm
if I
not.
leave that early, I beat Charlotte traffic and I beat Atlanta traffic.
Yeah, no, that's a
So
good. I mean, as someone who's driven 9 hours to a racetrack starting at 3 a.m. Yeah, that's the best time to do it.
it sucks because you got to flip your whole sleep schedule around, which I don't have much of a sleep schedule anyway.
Yeah, that day I
But
just didn't sleep. It just wasn't a viable option. So.
Seth knows that won't work for me. But
Oh no, Chuck will sleep on the way while driving. Chuck is the most efficient man I've ever met. He's like, hey, I need to sleep and drive. Fuck it. I'm doing both at the same time. You can't chew gum and walk. I can sleep and drive, motherfucker. I am Chuck.
for legal purposes, that's a joke. Uh
Yeah, he doesn't mean to.
one
Chuck,
other thing
Chuck
before
would
we go.
Chuck drives, Chuck sleeps and drives. Also Chuck. I'll fucking do it again.
Now you listen here, boy. I said not to talk about that on the show. We've gone way off the rails. There is one other thing. I can't really share much, but there may be some dirt late model news coming for front stretch. So we may get to talk about that on
Yeah.
on a show here soon. And that's my cue that it's time to get off this and go to bed. So take us away, buddy, Seth.
Oh gosh. What is my name, Chuck?
Seth.
Okay,
I was
thank.
calling you buddy as like a friend,
All right, anyway.
and then we got
Guy,
caught up in
pal,
pal.
friend. Um,
Get out of here.
yeah. So we had fun with that. Not next week because I'm stupid and I forget what. Well, actually, we might be able to do a late model video next week since Chuck is going down to Florida. So we'll probably do that. There will be an episode of Push to Pass this week, and
Watch it, please. Watch
please,
it.
Please watch it. Somebody watch it, please.
Dude, if you made it to the end of this and you are listening to me right now, you can watch Push to Pass. At least like halfway through it.
3 minutes. Give me 3 minutes. If you're not sold, leave a dislike and tell me I'm the worst ever. Like, I just watch it.
Or do that anyway, even if you enjoy it. It'd be kind of funny.
That's fair. Yeah, you're like, that was the greatest video I've ever seen. Dislike. Fuck you. All right, we're getting
engagement's engagement. We didn't say it had to be good engagement.
Exactly. It's like when I said, "Hey, this Alex Flow IndyCar ad sucks," and everyone's like, Engagement.
It worked.
It worked.
All right. On that note.
Bye, Gary.